And we should now be live. Good evening, everybody, or at least Joshua, because I know Joshua is here. I don't know how many other people are about. Sorry, I was just sorting something out here. Everything running correctly. Excellent. Right. Well, welcome back to Arizona. And as you can see, I have done a little bit of homework. So, you might remember last time we were sorting out the these three enclosures here. Putting our Nodosaurus, putting our Malicephaly and our Deinonychus in here. And we basically got this whole area finished in the stream. Off stream, I went and did a little bit of homework. Put in a sort of seating area for guests over here between these two covered zones. Also put in sort of finished the greenhouses themselves. So in this one we've got a lot of like European vegetation, a lot of bushy foliage, ginkgos, that sort of thing. Hello, Robev. In this one, I went for a sort of more willows and cycads, tropical plants. Evo's lovely bridge went in there as well. And then over in this one, I went for a good old sort of redwood forest sort of feel. Hello, Smaug. And I put in some of the mist-producing elements as well, just to give it that misty sort of Isla Sorna feel. And then, yeah, I finished the rest area over here. Now, you might remember I didn't know what to do with the particular entrance area to the last greenhouse. So what I've done is I've turned it into a bit of a Japanese shrine, Zen garden-esque area for John Hammond here. So you've got sort of a reflection pond, John Hammond statue, some bonsai olive trees, and you know, just somewhere nice to sit and reflect and pay respects and that sort of thing, which I thought works really well. I think it's a nice little touch. And you can see that I've also put in... So I didn't quite like the sort of make a giant snake head out of path thing. So I decided to go with just a snake, a whole snake instead. And I've actually given it a little, you can see I've given it sort of some 3D texture effect by using heightened terrain there. And I think that actually looks really, really good there. Obviously the surroundings need to be finished off. We've got some amenities here, nice restaurant area with outdoor seating as well, simple drinks and souvenir stand. And then to connect it to the greenhouses, I've decided to go for like just a simple log path that will run through this area. And what I have plans for is to use lots of plants and vegetation here just to make it look nice and dense. Now, I do have a question about this particular area. I won't be focusing on it today, but I am... Hello, Kairu. No, we just started. I am curious. Do people think we should have an enclosure down here in this gap? Because I think it is big enough for a dinosaur to be sort of in this gap down here, similar to what we've done over here. I was thinking about having a small-ish enclosure in here. Also, my apologies. Me and Dane decided to order takeaway tonight, but it arrived 2 hours. Arrived an hour late. So I'm still eating. So sorry. Maybe an enclosure lined by planters, no big fences. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking of just keeping these log walls, so I was thinking something small, plant eater, probably. But that is not what we are focusing on today. And we are not focusing on this either. No, instead, we are focusing on this down here. This took, yesterday, 4 hours to do in prep. Most of that spent managing the fact that the terrain wouldn't flatten correctly for the placeable water that is here. Sorry, I'm still recovering from my chest infection too. And also, a lot of time was spent moving these glass panels into place. However, I believe you'll say that it was worth it to create this effect of an aquarium tunnel as we go through and have an underwater view of what will be our Spinosaurus lagoon. Spinosaurus being our first star attraction for the park. Just so you guys know how this works, what I've done, or what I had to do, is flatten the terrain to a level, place down the placeable water first, then carve out the terrain under it, and then up here there is normal water. So if I just go, oh, you won't be able to see it there. If I go, here we go. So you'll see, so this is normal water here, this middle bit, that's actual water, but the rest is not water. It's just the fake stuff. I wanted to use some kelp in here, and I'm going to use some other lagoon decorations to get some movement and natural fish and that sort of thing. We're going to decorate this whole place. This is a star attraction zone. How we get down here, I haven't figured it out yet. But the actual sort of entrance, I think will look good. And I put the lagoon sign up here because I wanted something here, but I couldn't really get a like Spinosaurus head or anything, so I decided, well, we'll just put like the lagoon symbol here because it is kind of a lagoon. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get started with putting in a little bit of the vegetation just to begin with. And then once I put in some of the vegetation, we'll go and grab some Spinosaurus, and we'll have a look at what skins to use, because I do have many skins for the Spino. Unfortunately, I don't have a paleo-accurate version. I haven't found a paleo-accurate Spino design mod on Nexus that I actually think is good quality. There are a couple, but the quality's not fantastic. I think the quality's okay. And I kind of want better than just okay, so... That really is, you know, what you have to do when you do mod as extensively as I do. You reach this position of like, you've got to start being picky with your mods and deciding which ones are worth having and which ones are not, because otherwise you end up with hundreds. That's how people end up with Skyrim mod installs of hundreds and hundreds of files. We may get new glass panels very soon. Well, I just want a glass fence, honestly. Like, Kyodenic, you've given us all these wonderful fences. Can we just have a glass one? That would be so useful to have. Would Megalodon have eaten giant squid? I mean, I would guess that Megalodon probably would have eaten anything stupid enough to get in its way. I don't imagine Megalodon was particularly fussy. I mean, what I would say about Megalodon is the reason why predominantly it would have hunted whales is because whale blubber is extraordinarily rich in calorific value. So, for a creature the size of Megalodon, hunting something that was worth it in terms of energy provided means that whales are probably the best sort of like energy used to hunt versus energy gained from eating it thing. I can imagine that while a giant squid would probably be quite protein heavy, I can imagine it wouldn't go down without a fight, and probably Mr. Megalodon wants an easier meal than that. You know, what's easier to take out? A giant squid with many tentacles which is going to definitely fight back as you're trying to eat it, or giant blubbery whale that's slow, sluggish, full of protein-rich blubber. I know which I'd rather hunt. And it isn't the one that's going to try and kill me. Do I have plans to use the Dinosaur King variant of Spino? We will have a look at all the Spino stuff I have. Because there are some Dinosaur King stuff I think looks really, really good. And there is some which I think looks really, really bad. And, you know, it just comes down to what we decide to pick to make it look the best, you know? Yes, that is a good point, Kyrie. Giant squid are primarily deep water animals. Megalodon probably wouldn't have been the same sort of diving, wouldn't have the same sort of diving depth. You're hungry for seafood. I'll be honest, I never quite developed a taste for seafood. I'm okay with, like, the standard British fish and chips, battered cod, or something like that. Has to be battered, not breaded. Can't stand breaded fish. But seafood in general, I find a very hit and miss. I like crab. I hate salmon. Absolutely hate salmon. Can't stand salmon. Salmon for me is, and I know this is going to get you guys taking the piss out of me, but it's the only way I can describe it. Salmon for me is too fishy. It tastes too much like fish. And I know it is fish. But if you compare cod to salmon, cod doesn't taste overly fishy, whereas salmon to me does. I suppose what I mean is that salmon is very pungent in comparison to, say, cod. And I don't like pungent fish.
What about tuna?
Tuna I never developed a taste for because I only ever tried the tinned varieties. You know, and tinned tuna is just plain awful. But I never had any sort of desire to try non-tin tuna.
It's expensive.
Yeah, the expense is also the problem, yeah. Oh, shrimps. I'm okay with shrimps. Again, I don't really consider shrimps and prawns like hardcore seafood. For me, they're kind of seafood light. I want to use plenty of these mangrove trees. Since, you know, I want to go for a kind of coastal mangrove sort of feel to this area. So I think that's very Spinosaurus-esque. Sorry. Oh, oysters I have no interest in trying. Like, I'm usually pretty open to try a variety of foods, but there are some things I will never have, and oysters is one of them. Just horrible, slimy, gross bogies in shells is my opinion of them. Like, if you like them, you know, all the power to you, but I think they are the grimmest things in the world. Okay, I think this is looking pretty good. See, once you start layering in vegetation, these enclosures, they really do start popping. Oh. I'm curious about the Walking with Dinosaurs second season. They are being very quiet about it. I can't find very much news about it at all, and the few bits and bobs we have heard, there are some aspects that make me a little nervous. The fact that they are apparently kind of ditching the narrative sort of formula that the original shows had and going for more of something like Dinosaur with Stephen Fry, that makes me nervous. For obvious reasons, because, you know, Dinosaur with Stephen Fry was the worst program in the history of the world ever. It will never be surpassed. If you thought Dinosaur with Stephen Fry was good, you are wrong. I'm sorry. I don't know how else to say it. But you cannot objectively like that program. It was awful. If you thought it was good, I think you need to go and have your head examined because you must be clinically insane. Can you guys guess what videos of mine I was rewatching last night? And no, that wasn't ego surfing. I was I legitimately tend to rewatch a lot of my videos back to see if like there's something I have done in like editing or something that I've just like never done again that I've missed. Because I tend to do this thing where I'll do something in an edit and I'll be like, oh, that's really good, I should do it more often. And then I completely forget about it. So I occasionally go back and rewatch my videos to check them out. It's also nice to see where you can improve and do better. Especially when you're a small channel, you know, every little helps with that subscriber count. I kind of want to leave the back of here kind of empty. I want this to be kind of like a path for the Spinos to root downwards. And I think what I'm going to do is put a few more of these bigger trees over here. So you kind of have this canopy that covers this. So they kind of have like a... Not a proper sleeping area, but definitely somewhere like out of the way and kind of covered to rest. Okay, just thinking about that dinosaur enrichment. The invisible path is going to make that... invisible fence is going to make that annoying. So I might have to do that a different way. You missed Sanctuary Island. Sanctuary Island was definitely one of the better maps from the base game. And honestly... I feel like Frontier kind of missed a trick with not bringing those maps back. In fact, that does remind me, one of the videos I want to do on the channel in the next few weeks is like DLC ideas that Frontier should consider for the next game. Because I think we need to get away from just dinosaur packs and expansions. I feel like the Frontier need to have a more sort of Planet Zoo, Planet Coaster-esque sort of attitude when it comes to DLC for the next Jurassic game. I feel like we need to start having more sort of theme packs and decoration packs and map packs and just kind of more imaginative DLC than just here's some more dinosaurs. Because fundamentally, most of us, we don't actually spend that long looking at our dinosaurs, really. Because we're too busy doing shit like this. Making nice garden areas and enclosures and everything else. Robert, I totally agree. I really miss the shale from Penna. You know, I low-key loved the shale from Penna so much that I literally installed a mod to replace the dirt texture on every map with the shale texture because it was just so good. Sorry, I'm just finishing off a burger. Interesting you should say that, Zhao. So, I am in the middle of re-watching my day 1 Jurassic World Evolution 2 streams, which I did on the day it released. Just getting some notes and getting footage for part 2 of the retrospective review now that part 1 is done. By the way, it's all being stitched together as one long video essay video, so it won't be out until all 8-9 parts of it are completed. But re-watching like the campaign on day 1, it's funny how completely rubbish it feels. And how it just doesn't feel like a campaign, it feels like a tutorial. And I do wonder myself, like, we don't know very much about Rebirth yet as like a film. But it doesn't sound like it's going to sort of fall in line with a park building kind of game. Which tells me that the game is either only really going to be loosely based off the film, or that the game is going to almost certainly completely ignore the film, really, apart from probably a DLC, probably a day 1 DLC or week 1 DLC that they'll release. Like what they did with Planet Coaster 2, sorry. I think it should be played in an improved first-person mode. Sorry, Zhao, I totally disagree with you. I'm afraid. There. I actually did a hot takes video on that. After I saw people requesting that particular feature on Reddit, and I was like, yeah, no, you guys, no. I don't even think dinosaurs should interact with a character in first-person mode. Simply because, well, one, that would immediately give the game a higher rating or classification. So there's no way Universal is going to do that. It's why we have no blood in the game, because Universal won't let, you know, anything affect the "this game is for everybody" rating. So just on a sheer technicality, they'll never have a system in the game where a character you're playing as could get eaten or killed or hurt. Well, Zhao, my response to that would be, why do we have to have a different game mode? What's wrong with just building a park and enclosures and running a zoo? You know? this is the problem I persistently have with certain elements of the Jurassic World Evolution 2 community. They keep saying, oh, you know, I don't really like the park building bit. Well, I'm sorry, it's a park building game. Like, if you don't want to play a park building game, go and play the Isle. And then they'll turn around and go, oh, I don't like the Isle, it's too hard. Suck it up, buttercup. Stop trying to turn every single game into Call of Duty just because you think that's, you know, you can't be asked to enjoy games of other genres. You know, that's not me saying that to you, by the way, Joe. That's me in, you know, some of these people on Reddit. They have no idea at all. And it just winds me up. It's why so many games these days all feel exactly the same. Because no one wants to play something different. They all just want to play exactly the same thing over and over again. It sucks. Let's put some algae in here. Making a campaign in a park builder game is hard to do. It's limiting. No, it's not. It is simply not. Okay. And Frontier themselves know that it's not, because the campaign for Planet Zoo was actually quite good, and there was some narrative intrigue, and there was some good characterization and good writing in that campaign. They can do it. It's just about putting the time, the effort into actually doing it properly. That's the bit that they won't do. It's not hard to make a good campaign if you actually spend the time, but they won't. A Jurassic... I mean, honestly, I feel that they completely missed a trick with the Chaos Theory mode. Okay? In Chaos Theory, you play a single scenario from each film, right? But you start by basically making Jurassic Park work. Now, my question is, why did they not then do each following Chaos Theory campaign canonizing that event as like an alternate history? So the San Diego Park is, right, we've made a success of Jurassic Park, but let's bring them something smaller, closer, San Diego. We're going to build another park in San Diego. And then Jurassic Park 3 should have been something different. And then Jurassic World should have been, Jurassic Park has been open for 20 years and it's been a success, but it's looking old, a bit decrepit, a bit aged. We need to update it. So let's update it and make Jurassic World. That is a narrative campaign, and it would have been fine. Instead, well, you know what we got for Chaos Theory. I did not like Chaos Theory. I thought they wasted a lot of opportunities there. What dino is going in here, Acriano? This is for a Spinosaurus, or a few Spinosaurus. We'll probably put... I think we'll put 3 Spinosaurus in here. You caught me mid-rant there. Well, not mid-rant, but, you know, my idea of what I would have done for Chaos Theory. I mean, personally, I don't understand why people think the gameplay needs to change, regardless of what Rebirth is about. You know? Jurassic World Dominion was not particularly about a dinosaur park, and yet we have park building in this game, so... I don't really feel like the gameplay has to change just because the movie is changing. I feel like the gameplay should just be left as it is, and we should just receive improvements. Like, I don't think it would be a bad thing just to base the game off of Jurassic World and Park. You know, we don't necessarily have to have the game directly related to Rebirth. But then I'm not Universal. And Universal are going to want to make all the money they can from Rebirth. So if they can drag this game through the mud to earn a little extra money, they will do. We need Spino babies. Hello, Jurassic Jaws. I'm still very on the fence about baby dinosaurs in this game. I still don't necessarily think 100% that it's a good idea. I have a number of, not concerns, but a number of sort of questions about sort of the additioning of baby dinosaurs in a game like this. Okay, algae patches. These can be somewhat annoying to place, so I'm going to put them all over here. And we'll put them in manually. Oops, that one just went through the floor. So we'll put a patch here. I like to have them just beneath the waterline. Like not on top, just below, just to get the rippling effects to play through on it. So I think they look better with that. I mean, here as babies is the mod. Yeah, my problem with the mod is that it's just basically a shrunken dino. And I've already got, like, so many new species and stuff. In fact, I actually deleted a couple of new species the other day. Ones that I just thought, just weren't really up to scratch. The mod that came out this week, oh god, the Obenoceratops. The weird narwhal, the weird narwhal whale. You know the one I mean. I actually installed that, but then deleted it because I thought, actually, the quality of the animation wasn't really good enough. I think they picked the wrong rig to use for the Obeno. I think they should have used the Tylo rig or something with a slightly different paddling effect. Okie dokie. Yes, that one, the Obenoceratops, yes. Or however it's pronounced. Yeah, I mean, I am curious when they are going to actually announce something. Because if it's true that the film isn't going to be announced until February, which is the Super Bowl, I believe, or some sport thing, that means the game, if it's coming out at the same time as the film, which we're assuming the film is coming out in July, and is not going to be delayed, that doesn't give them much time at all to hype the game up. And that seems like a very dangerous course of action. So I feel like I am tempted to say they might announce Jurassic World Evolution 3 without the film. You know, they announced Jurassic World Evolution 2 when we didn't have anything for Dominion. So I'm tempted to say they might do that again. But we'll have to wait and see what they do. I think that is looking pretty good. Obviously, there's a lot more that needs to be done. I want to put in some more vegetation. Need to put in like the lagoon vegetation. Oh, there is a couple of bigger lagoon things I can put in now. Actually, I want to use this like whale skeleton. Just gonna like lower it down a little bit. Put a few rocks around it. Sticking up a little bit above the surface for me. And we're just going to say that these are just like shallow coral. I don't think there's anything wrong with like shallow coral sort of esque things. Let's give them some bubbles. I'm sure Spinosaurus loves a good bubble. It's probably got to be one of the weirdest things I've ever said on a stream. I'm sure Spinosaurus loves a good bubble. A few little steam patches, I think works fine. Nice. What we can do is we can also use like proper larger patches of coral besides the the tunnel, just to sort of bed stuff in a little bit better. I'm gonna put a couple of these maybe in corners. As long as there's a route for the Spinosaurus to sort of walk around, I think we'll be fine. I think we do actually need to move that slightly out of the way, just so that they can move around it. Fletcher, do you have the invisible fish feeder? That's a good question. I thought I did. Hang on a minute, where... Ah! Good suggestion. There we go. Looks a bit more realistic, doesn't it? Although I am curious to see if we can actually, how much we can actually see through these glass sections. We can at least see the fish. And we can kind of see the whale. I think obviously once we put some lighting into the lagoon as well, it'll look alright. Right, let's save. Because we've been doing this now for nearly an hour. Crikey. And let's go and find ourselves some Spinosaurus skins, shall we? Which species monster did I remove? I removed the Obonoceratops. There was a couple of others. Oh, I think I removed a couple of the Dinosaur King variations for some animals where I didn't think it looked particularly good. Like, the Dinosaur King Amargasaurus I didn't think was particularly good, so I got rid of that one, for example. Right, Spino. I got rid of the Dinosaur King variant of the Spino. But I do have Jurassic World Evolution 1 Spino. Because I honestly, I think some of the Jurassic World Evolution 1 skins were really good. I mean, I still love the Rainforest pattern one. And then obviously we have standard colorations for the Spinos. So really we need to think about what sort of color we want. I think what will be easiest is if we're going to have 3, let's do a male and female, and then we'll have a Jurassic World Evolution 1 variant as well. And we'll just have the Jurassic World Evolution 1 variant as like genetic anomaly or something like that. Which of the Jurassic World Evolution 1 skins? I mean, Wetland would suit. Vivid is quite nice. I mean, my vote would be for Rainforest. I think Rainforest just looks really good, personally. JWE1, and then we'll have a male and a female. But yeah, what do people think? Which Jurassic World Evolution 1? I mean, Stepp's kind of okay as well. Rainforest is live, Rainforest is love. Rainforest it is then. And then, for the main sort of Spinos, what sort of color, base color shall we go with? We got some reds here. Light reds, the greens. The greens are kind of hit and miss. We've got some light color. The Yukon River one is quite interesting. Svalbard. Amazon rainforest, which is this emerald color. Purple is Gambia River Basin. Mangrove. Mangrove, I like that yellow. That sort of golden. I really like that, actually. But if we were to pick that, what color do we then go with for the females? Because I don't think there's a color which really works with it. Unless we just made the females, like, black. But I think that's kind of boring. I suppose we could do a standard males have the frill pattern, females don't. I suppose we could do that. What colour? None of the frill colours work that fantastic. The blue and the white are probably the best, and I think that's kind of boring. Let's have a look at, what if we pick this guy? Let's see, blue. I mean, that looks pretty good. What if we pick this guy? This is quite difficult. There's not really... That's probably the best I've seen so far. But then it is just black and red, so it should be. I went with the blood red. Yeah, no. It's weird. There isn't that many good combinations here on the Spino. The black and red one looks edgy. It does. It does look very, very edgy. Yellow blank pattern, pineapple spider. I suppose it does look a bit like a Spino. A pineapple, even. I like the base color. I just don't like the fact that the frill just doesn't really work with any of them, apart from the white or the blue. I love the emerald coloration, but it doesn't work with any of them. I love this guy for his natural orange combination, but then he just doesn't really work with any of the frill colors apart from the white. Maybe the blue. Maybe the red as well. Minion Spino. Ooh, that's yeah, that's no need to insult the Spino, guys. Come on. Minion Spino, just I mean, what if we went with what if we did go with a proper green? Yeah, no, it just doesn't work with that either. Hello, Matthias. The game will need some Triassic species and several other eras of dinosaurs according to real evolution. What do you mean by that, Matthias? Let's take all Jurassic World Evolution 1 skins. I mean, we could take a wetland and we could take a vivid. Fuck it. We'll take a wetland and we'll take a vivid. I like that idea, actually. We'll have our own raptor pack, but with Jurassic World Evolution 1 skins instead. I really like that idea. Yeah, we'll go for that. See, this is... Because obviously in the middle of retrospectively reviewing this, so my mind is constantly analysing this game at the moment. Because I haven't quite come to a final decision on sort of what I think of the game. There are some days where I think the game, you know, I need to be less harsh. That the game is definitely better than the first game. Does a lot of things that are good, and maybe the bad elements don't necessarily outweigh the good elements. And then there are other times where I look at this game and be like, what the hell were you thinking, Frontier? Yeah, Jurassic World Evolution 1 definitely had species with better skins than Jurassic World Evolution 2 in some cases. I don't know. Like, one part of my retrospective review is going to be analysing everything new that they did with this game. So the amenity system, the skin customization system, the aviaries, the lagoons, blah blah blah. And I don't think any of them are perfect. And I don't think any of them are anywhere near perfect. Like, all of them have really serious flaws. Like this skin system, for example. It's completely useless. Because these do not match. I mean, we already know that the Amazon rainforest is green, not blue. So it's a completely useless addition. Why didn't they do something like what this mod has literally just done here? Oh, look. We're actually seeing what the flipping thing looks like. Why can't they do that? There are so many mods that do this, that actually show you what it looks like when you select it. But Frontier can't do it. Why? Intolerant, nocturnal, and thirsty. Okay. Sounds like a Spinosaurus to me. Yeah, instead we have to go all the way to the species viewer to look at them. And remember, the species viewer was an update. We didn't even have the species viewer to begin with. Thirsty and intolerant. These are gonna be some pretty unhappy Spinos. Aggressive, intolerant, and thirsty. And there's loads of other little elements as well, like why is it that ankylosaurs and sauropods have such terrible skins? Like, why can't they make sauropods and ankylosaurs look decorative in any way? Is it just because they feel like they weren't in real life, so they're just not going to bother? Because if that's the reason for it, some sort of belief of realism, then I think Frontier need to maybe look online and see some of the designs people have actually made. Because some of them are incredible and colourful, you know. Oh, Triceratops was just utterly ruined. Utterly ruined. Now, obviously, one of the limitations to the fake water is that you don't get any sort of effects. There's no splashes or anything. So that is one of the limitations with this particular mod. But if you can live with that, it definitely works, I think, in Spinosaurus's favour. I did also measure this water, okay? So if the Spinosaurus is here, his frill and head just pop above the surface. If he goes into any of these regions, he will actually be quite deep. I wanted to just make sure they had a good mix of depth for the water. Oh, you decided not to go in that way, eh? I think my favourite might be the Welland skin. out of these ones, I think my favourite might be the wetland one. No, that already looks pretty deep. I was sure I measured this water. I measured it. Yeah, he definitely if they come down here, he definitely will be able to. Just here is a little deep for some reason. I kind of like the effect of them splashing in the actual water underneath. It makes it look like they're kind of kicking up sediment and stuff. It's kind of a nice effect. Oh, he's heading into deeper waters. Just having a wander, exploring about. I do hope they won't just stay up here. I'm actually going to grab one. I don't know, so he will... Just gonna get a first-person view of that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Definitely need to get some lighting or something. Get some lagoon lights in here that'll just shine a bright white light into here, just to... Because the glare from the sun is kind of right in that... right in the way of that. I wonder if it might be useful to actually have some water down here. I'm going to assume there's nowhere it'll let me put it. Probably not. But you know, they are walking around there. They are exploring about. In Jurassic World Evolution 3, they should remove the Jurassic World Stego and Jurassic World Trike models and make JP Trike and Dominion Para new variants. Maybe? I'll be honest, I've never liked Jurassic Park's Stegosaurus. Ever. Because I always think it's a bit bland. It's just green. It is the most default here is a dinosaur design. You know, it's green. It's just a default dinosaur color. No one has yet come up with a Stegosaurus design that beats the Walking with Dinosaurs one, as far as I'm concerned. The Walking with Dinosaurs Stegosaurus is still, I think, the best Stegosaurus design I have ever seen. You know, it adds colour, it adds those wonderful colour changing plates. I just think it's better than any other Stegosaurus design I've ever seen. Yeah, I think the Jurassic World trike is fine. I would agree that it just needs some love and attention when it comes to its skins and patterns. Like, give it proper frill colours. Like, give it proper frill colours, give it proper stripes or dots or whatever you're going to do pattern-wise. That's all it needs, really. It just needs some attention from someone who can make a good-looking dinosaur. What I was trying to say is mix several animal herbs in this Jurassic World Evolution 3 game, like several animals from different eras to make it a varied prehistoric animals game. Oh, I get what you mean. You mean that there should be animals from other time periods. Right, I get you, yeah. We definitely need more Triassic period representation. The fact Plateosaurus is still not in this game is, in my opinion, complete insult. Symbospondylus as well, another big Triassic period animal. Yeah, Permian period species as well, Gorgonopsids, Scutosaurus, Moschops, all of those we definitely should have. I don't necessarily believe in Cenozoic animals. And that's not me saying I don't necessarily believe in them, as I don't think they existed. I just don't think they would be right for this game. My problem with them adding Cenozoic animals is, firstly, Cenozoic animals are just generally boring. They're just elephants. There are Cenozoic period animals that I think are interesting, and I'm actually going to make a video on what Cenozoic animals I think should be in the game, because I think if they resort to just here's a woolly mammoth, here's a saber-toothed cat, then I think that's the least interesting, least effective way of adding Cenozoics. I think if they're going to add Cenozoic animals into the game, they need to add the interesting ones. Or the ones that are actually going to bring something cool to the game. Yeah, my problem with the Ice Age period animals is, well, mammoths are just elephants. And I'm sorry, there's nothing interesting about that. Woolly rhinos as well, they're just rhinos. And if I wanted to play with elephants or rhinos, I would play Planet Zoo. I just have no interest in Ice Age period mammals. The bigger problem is, if I wanted to play a game with prehistoric mammals, I would play Prehistoric Kingdom. I feel like if Jurassic World Evolution 3 reverts to adding Cenozoic period animals, they're starting to rub very close to Prehistoric Kingdom, and I think that's not a very good comparison. The closer Jurassic World Evolution or Frontier get to making their game more like Prehistoric Kingdom, the worse Jurassic World Evolution will look in comparison. You know, there are some things that Jurassic World Evolution does that Prehistoric Kingdom doesn't do as well. That's where they should focus on. They should not be trying to become Prehistoric Kingdom. Not to mention, I think there's so much more that they could do with the actual dinosaurs. Like, or even just the game as a whole. It kind of aggravates me that people, when they think about improvements for the Jurassic World Evolution 3 could bring, the only thing people think of is, oh, let's have these new species. There's literally tons and tons of other aspects to this game that need improvement. Resorting to just the bog standard, let's add yet more animals to an already bloated roster. Could we not have something a bit more interesting as an idea to really improve the game? You know? Permian animals would be a good addition. I feel like they would suit the other animals in the game quite nicely. But again, adding more animals is like at the very, very bottom of my list of things for Jurassic World Evolution 3. Like, there is so many other things that the game needs to do that is ahead of more animals. Because this game has more animals, it already feels like there's too many. It's everything else surrounding the animals where the improvements need to happen. Goober, we are not having Indominus Rex in this park. In fact, I don't even know what particular animals we are going to have next. Oh, actually, I know what we can do. We can do the little mini enclosure down by the greenhouses. But yeah, I think this looks pretty good so far. There's a little bit more that I want to do with it. A little bit more vegetation here and there. And then obviously I'll need to design the whole area around it. But I think this looks pretty decent. And a bit unique. I do want to find some way of putting maybe a viewing dome or viewing log in here. I was thinking of maybe having a viewing log that kind of stretches between those two trees. Something... Where is the log? Where is the log? There is log. Like, something here. Or maybe... I mean, we can't put it there because it would be in the way of the lower area, but... I don't know. Maybe a dome. Somewhere we could have like a dome at the back. Basically giving guests an actual viewing method into this, because obviously, you know, this area, they won't even go into this glass covered area because the hitboxes still are present, so they won't actually go in them. We won't be putting a raptor in down by the greenhouses, Goober, because it's not really suited for that. We've also got a raptor already in the park. We've got Deinonychus here already, so... Right, so for this particular little enclosure... what shall we make the rear wall out of? I think we'll use tool logs. And I'm going to... No. Okay, that's two tool. Also, I'm not necessarily sure we need one along the back row, do we? We only need one along the sides. So, tool log there. And I think we'll just have... Where should we have the tool log? We'll curve it. Yeah. And then we've got medium fence, short fence, short fence. If we make this fence medium... If you're going to add more dinos, can I get one named after you? How about a Spinosaurus, Goober? I mean, we haven't named these already. There we go. You'll have a Spinosaurus named after you. I was about to say, Nicholas, from what I'm aware, we haven't gotten any confirmation about any species in Rebirth, so that's got to be a rumor, right? I suppose we could do like a hedge in the back. I kind of like that, actually. Yeah, I believe Parasaurolophus is the only species we have confirmed, and that's only because its decapitated head had that photograph taken of it. So that is the only species we know for sure is showing up in some respect. Everything else is just a guess. I mean, personally, there shouldn't be any new species of animal. Judging on the story, considering this is following on from Dominion, where all that stuff with Biosyn was stopped, and considering all the dinosaurs are supposed to be dying, there shouldn't be any new species of dinosaur, because they should all be either dead, dying, or Dominion was stopped, so there are no new species of dinosaur. Personally, I would kind of give them props if they didn't add anything new. Because let's be fair, the only reason they would add new species is because they want to make money from toy sales. And I'm kind of like, maybe don't. Maybe have some dignity. I'm going to have to manually place trees down here, I think. Because the brush tool is just not brushing. Oh well. Yeah, yeah, Matthias, I know. But like I said, I would be a lot more for Permian period animals than Ice Age period animals. Yeah, I mean, Dominion demonstrated that adding more dinosaurs doesn't necessarily make the film better. I think I'm going to switch where the viewing area is for this enclosure. So, where have we got? There's the medium wall. So I'll have the medium one along that side, and we're going to have the short one along this side. So this becomes sort of the viewing wall, and then we have this slightly taller wall just kind of guarding off. I don't want to use the really super tall log walls because I think that'll spoil the view of the greenhouse area. So what shall we do with this enclosure? Let's clear out all these bushes. It's quite a big size. Any particular thoughts about what species, what sort of environment? Iguanodon is barely noticeable in Dominion. Exactly. I mean, that was... Oops, sorry, just shifting about. That was fundamentally one of my problems with Dominion, is that they added all of these animals, and then they were only ever, like, background animals. Or they were used for one scene to chase the people from one place to another, and then they were abandoned. And I don't see the point of doing that. I actually wonder, what about if we put, like, whoops. We put like a semicircle of path in here. Or semicircle. A circle of path. And then let's make like a short log wall up to there. Ugh. These fences can be particularly awkward to use at times. The devil? Why wouldn't it let me make a nice smooth circle there? That was bizarre. When in doubt, run away. So I feel like that was most of Jurassic World Dominion. It was just run away, the movie. Which, you know, they are being chased by dinosaurs. I freely accept, but... Okay. I kind of like that, actually. And then let's sink this down slightly. Slightly more. I think two contour lines is acceptable. They were being chased by dinosaurs more than Nigel Marvin. Nobody gets chased by dinosaurs more than Nigel Marvin. It's theoretically impossible to be chased more. Nigel just enjoys it too much. That's Nigel's problem. He just enjoys being chased by dinosaurs. I'm actually not going to have it all quite low. I kind of want to leave this back area a little bit raised. I don't know, Berenson, what'll be in here. Obviously, this is a probably herbivore enclosure, I would think. Since this is the botanical garden side, or the greenhouse side, it probably makes sense for it to be herbivore. Plus, we have got quite a few carnivores in the greenhouse area, so... I'm thinking some herbivores in here, and we could probably definitely have a mixed group of animals as well. It's definitely big enough for that. I think Huangosaurus has to go in here. We don't have a stegosaur in the park yet, so maybe we could have a combination of some stegosaurs in here. Maybe we could have some hadrosaurs in here, because I don't think we have any hadrosaurs in the park either. The sauropods will be going in the central exhibit, which is accessed on the other side. So this one here that will be sort of stretching down past here, down to the sauropod exhibit, and up to the lagoon. That'll be where we have our sauropods. But yeah, I am thinking maybe stegosaurs of some variety. I mean, maybe Lethian, but again, where did this plesiosaurus come from? Like, that was one of my biggest annoyances with Dominion, is that they added all these extra dinosaurs, but didn't really explain where they had come from. Was like the assumption is that Biosyn had made them all, or they had just all been made by rival companies or something, but I don't know, that feels like a bit of a cop-out to me. Okay, we'll have a quite large patch of water. I have a couple of... No, we won't, because... Because that's the wrong height. Have that go up to there. I'm happy with that. I feel like we need some movement in here. So I'll place down a couple of waterfalls. Kentra, we could put Kendra in here. I did not smoke, no. I've missed that bit of paleontology knowledge. To be honest, I need to do a little bit of catching up. Because there was the discovery of all those footprints in Great Britain, which I wanted to read about. And there's been a few other paleontology news events lately, so... I need to find some time when I'm not, you know, rewatching old streams to make videos out of and stuff. Honestly, doing this retrospective review is such a hardcore project. And what's kind of, not necessarily sad, but something I've made peace with, is the fact that I know full well it's not going to be like a massive hit video on the channel. Like, it won't get thousands of views. It probably get a few hundred, if that. So it's a lot of work for a video that's not going to be doing like major work, but I don't necessarily mind. I'm doing it because I want to finish off Jurassic World Evolution 2, as it were. Yeah. We need to make sure we add somewhere for these animals to obviously rest and stuff. So I'm thinking I might try and combine it with... see, it's a bit loud there, though. I might put them along this area at the edge. And then what I can do is I can drop them down ever so slightly to cover up the wording. Oh, that looks quite good. There you go. If you wanted to, if you want to have like a cool extra sign there. Yeah, I'm hoping that should be big enough for stuff. Yeah. I can cover up these with some trees, some rocks, some whatevers. As long as you don't put something in there that's too super massive, so it doesn't look realistic. Unrealistic, even. I feel like I haven't paid attention to chat very well lately. I do apologize for that. They should bring the greenhouse from Jurassic World Evolution. I assume you mean they should bring the greenhouse from the first game into the third game as an attraction. I do miss having that greenhouse. It was a particularly nice looking building. I always thought that they could do more with that than they actually did. It would be the perfect building for like tiny enclosure animals, compies, etc. They'd obviously have to modify the building so we could actually see inside it and stuff, but it wouldn't be too difficult to do, I don't think. Let's put one of you down here. Adding more dinosaurs sounds easy, but it's not when they are constantly dying of old age. I wish they would... That is like one of those low-key features, quality of life features, that I want in the third game more than extra animals, is I want the concept of time to actually be a thing in the park. Like, I want to know how much time is passing in terms of game time, and I want to know how that connects to the dinosaurs. Because, like, you're given a lifespan, and it's just a random number. Like, what does that mean? I don't understand why they didn't just do what Jurassic Park Operation Genesis did, and just have, like, a month and year thing. And then measure dinosaur lifespan in years, and then you know for a fact, like, how the time in the game works. Some more trees there. This is only a very basic rough outline for the enclosure. I'm obviously going to do a load more work on it. And then obviously here we'll have some seating and... yeah. How big is... Sorry, I just had a thought. Okay, that's way too big. too big. That's just too big. Yeah, so we can't cover it really. But we'll think of something. I'll think of something. Maybe create a rock covering, like what I did over here. And maybe just cover the whole sort of circle with rocks. It would be a bit of a arse to do. Definitely something I can do off stream though. Oh, the big aviary from Jurassic World Evolution 1 definitely was necessary for the quests. Easily. I think JWE1 still has a lot of pros over the second game. Because I think if you strip away the nice wallpaper, because essentially this is nice wallpaper, like, oh, it looks good. You know, this desert environment looks good, but that's just skin deep stuff. If you actually strip away all of the wallpaper and have a look at what the game is inherently, yeah, maybe you could argue that the lagoons and aviaries are a definite improvement, but they're so badly implemented that I would argue they actually don't bring that much to the game apart from annoyance. I have actually... So, actually, I forgot to mention, one Nothosaur has died of starvation after it got stuck on one of these pillars. And I have had nothing but trouble with the Thanatos Dracon in here getting stuck trying to land on these viewing galleries. The other day, and I got a screenshot of it and video clipped it so I could use it in my retrospective review. There was a Thanatos Dracon, and I'm not kidding, stuck in midair in a dive. It was just stuck in midair in a dive. I have had nothing but trouble with the Thanatos Dracon. Very, very aggravating. And it's stuff like that which works against this game. Because there are so many flaws. So many flaws with everything they've added in. That it's kind of like a death by 1,000 cuts thing. Could you use a lagoon platform as a roof for the viewing platform? Let's see. I mean... maybe... Can we shrink it down? How far could we shrink it down? Okay, hang on a minute. Hang on. Where's first person view? First person. I mean... that would certainly create a roof. And then if we put in, you know, some extra stone around the edges to create a series of buttresses, then this would be our roof. That would actually make building this a lot easier, because all I have to do then is get some rocks to do like a couple of legs on either side, and that's relatively easy to do. That works quite well, Rob. Nice. I mean, obviously it doesn't match the colour of the rest of the park, but there are limitations here. Good idea. I mean, I can put some, like, vegetation and stuff on top of here as well, just to make it blend a little bit in with the park a lot more. Shall we go and have a look for some animals, though? I don't have a particular sort of inkling for this particular park. I'm just I'm open to possibilities. Let's bring up a notepad file. So they've got to be herbivores. And they do have to be nothing stupidly oversized. I did think about a stegosaurian of some sort, didn't I? So maybe that's the Wuho or Stegosaurus itself. Also suggested hadrosaurs, didn't I? I think ceratopsians are too dangerous for that particular enclosure. You'd need something a bit more substantial than wooden walls. So... I also do kind of want to use stuff I don't use too often. I use the Hwango way too much. Galley and Dravido. We actually used Dravido in my last park, so I kind of want to use something different. And Galley... Galley is just a bit boring. Plus, I would probably have to make the walls taller. Galley is quite large. I wish we had a sailback, like, proper Urano. I wish we had a proper one. Because this one isn't bad, but I just don't like... The head is just all wrong. The head is just wrong. The body is wrong. It's just not the right shape. Nor do we already have in the park, Maggie. I have heard of Permian period animals, Matthias. I literally said about Gorgonopsids and Moschops and Scutosaurus and that sort of thing. Do we have Dracorex already? We don't. Not a particular fan of Dracorex. Plus, we have Hermalocephaly. It's, I think, a Stegosaur and a Hadrosaur is definitely what we should have in there. It's just me figuring out which we should have. I think Gigant Spino. I don't use Gigant Spino very often. Personally, because I think Gigant Spino was one of those species that kind of got a bit ruined by... from this game, from the last game. I think Gigant Spino was much better in the last game. I like the red. Not sure I like any of the pattern colours. Black is a bit dark. I want something lighter. I want something a bit more colourful for these animals in here. Gigant and Mutabura. Mutabura is a good suggestion, actually. I kind of like that. The white accents to the horns and plates. And the sort of darker brown on top. I think that looks quite good, actually. Okay. Male Giganto, Spino, Death Valley, and Pulcrana. Females. Female... Is there a colour that's similar to that yellow? Not really. Closest would be to just make it Great Sandy Desert. I know it's a bit random, but I kind of like how this has the yellow from the Death Valley, essentially, but uses it as kind of a colour that's coming through the duller patterning. It's hard to tell without seeing them side by side, though. Because that's what our male would look like, or males. And then the female would be... very different, actually. Maybe we would just go with the same pattern, but just make the body lighter. So I do want to give them some pattern. I think we'll just go with the lighter color and the same pattern. Right, and then we said a hadrosaur, and I heard Mutabara being suggested. Mutabara being not a hadrosaur. I think it's an iguanodontid, isn't it? Or a rabidontid. One of the two. Mutabara. It is a rabidontid, yeah. I thought so. Same as little Zalmoxes, which is one of my favourite animals from Prehistoric Planet. Mutabara does have the advantage of having some quite vibrant colorations. I do... And yet, I always go with Gambia River Basin or Mangrove Forest, because they're just so good. Oh. Honestly, they're just so nice, those two. I mean, I even like the Amazon Rainforest one. But Gambia River Basin and Mangrove Forest are just great. I think Gambia would work well for this enclosure. And I'm actually going to be a little different. I'm going to give him the black stripes. Actually, I quite like this one with the black. So Mutabara, males, Gambia River Basin, and Papurana. Now, doing a female is going to be tricky, because there is just not really a color combination that looks anything like that. So we'll either have to go with a really distinctly different color, or stick with the same color but maybe go with the blue, with the white pattern instead, or just remove the pattern entirely. So that would be the male, and the female would just be no pattern. The problem is it's such a vibrant skin that the males are going to kind of blend in. So we could just make the females look like that. I mean, nah, it's just too different in shade. I had a random idea then. Ah, here we go, actually. Okay, we can make the females Death Valley, keep the pattern color, and then that means that the male sort of sexual display is the color of the blue, not necessarily the tail color. So Death Valley actually would work in there. So Death Valley and Papiorana. Excellent. Let's get back to the park. Yeah, Mutabara has some of the best skins in the game. Easily. Hoangosaurus, Mutabara, Elasmo, Liplorodon, Shoni, Iguanodon has some nice ones. Olora Titan has some nice ones. Acro, obviously. Acro has always had nice ones. Megalo has some nice skins, I think. Metri, obviously. Monolophosaurus, I think, doesn't get used anywhere near enough, and I think Monolopho has some great skin combinations. Okay. Gigant. So, Death Valley and Pulcrana. I think we'll have 2 males. Great Sandy Desert and Pulcrana. And 4 females. I think that's fine. It's quite a big enclosure, isn't it? So I think we'll get away with 2 species. I want to get these 2 species in, and then I might think about putting a 3rd in, but we'll see. We'll see how it looks with the Mutabaras and Gigant Spinos in here. I'm actually liking how this park is actually forming up. It's actually starting to feel, you know, now we've got this side basically completed, apart from some vegetation and stuff. And now we've got this bit, like, all done, and now we've got this bit in the middle all done. And once we sort of connect up the Spino Star Attraction exhibit area, and then have this big bit in the middle, it'll start really coming together. I think on Sunday, when we're playing this again, I'm going to be working on the large lagoon and sort of figuring out how we're going to go from up here down to the large lagoon and putting in sort of the areas around it. I might do some homework to try and get most, some of it done before the stream. Because this lagoon will be home to Chronos, I think. Or possibly Megs. Or maybe both. I haven't decided. Why not both? I suppose this is the obvious pointer. This side will be basically empty, so this is all just going to be natural ginkgo forest and landscape, apart from the hotel area, which will just be on its own sort of thing. And then this river will run through. The staff area needs to be sort of finished up with some decoration, but that's not going to take too long. Oh god, these guys are taking forever. Where is Matabara? Megalodons do have some good skins, which is... It's probably what saves them for me, because I'm a real big anti-Megalodon person. I really don't like Megalodon. I think for me Megalodon is just too overused. It's just everywhere, and I still think it's kind of a boring animal. But it is saved in this game by having some really, really good skins. I think it's I don't think it's a particularly interesting animal. I think the social is I think the social animation is very bland and uninteresting, and like as good as the added skins are, you can't deny it is just a big great white shark still. But it definitely adds a sort of vibe to the park. I think there's lots of lagoon animals I would rather have had than Megalodon. Symbospondylus is probably one of them. I forgot how small Gigant Spino is. It's so small compared to the Mutters. And the Mutaburras are actually quite small for what they are. They're tiny. I mean, this one's drowning himself in sorrow. I think this level of barrier is appropriate for them, though. Especially given that the enclosure is below ground level in a well. It's what I call it, a well-style enclosure, where it's sort of below ground level. I think it definitely suits animals, because like this is just tall enough to kind of come up to the edge of the fence if it was standing right at it, so... You know, I think once all the mutters are in, I think this is fine as mutters and gigant. I don't think it needs a third species. I think a third species would make it look too crowded. Yeah, I think I think this looks alright. I think the colours work very well. So yeah, once I put in some additional rock work to support this roof piece, make it blend into the park, put some vegetation on it. Finish doing the decoration of this. I think this will look pretty good. And then obviously we've got the Spinos in their enclosure. Some further work to be done here, some more vegetation to place down. But I think this looks a really cool enclosure. So yeah, I think we got a lot of work done today. But it is now 10 past 11, so I am going to leave it here. I'm going to save the game. Thank you everyone for tuning into this stream. Like I say, Sunday we will be back on this, more than likely, just to do some further work, because I would like to get this park sort of finished before the end of the month. And yeah, I will see you guys on Sunday, basically. Wherever you are, do please enjoy the rest of your days. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you guys on Sunday evening for the usual stream. Until then, stay safe and goodbye.